Hi, I'm Kaki King, and in this lesson we're going to work on muting with your right hand and playing with a pick. Now, I normally use fake nails on my right hand, but since I know most of you out there don't have that, you'll be playing with picks. That's what I'm going to be sort of using. So it's really quite a basic concept, but one that people can tend to mess up if they're using the wrong position. You can use this for acoustic or electric, but basically you just rest your hand simply, I would say just as a point of reference, right between the bridge pickup and the bridge itself. So right here is a good place for it to be. And this is a fleshy part of your hand, and it just creates a really basic mute. So instead of you're gonna get this sound. And many guitar players, I'm sure many that are also on this website, mute a lot of their chords when they play them. It can be really useful for kind of building something up where you're, for instance, let's say just we're muting some power chords and you go. And you sort of raise the mute up to get that, the sustain to be louder. For me, what I like to, I tend to, there's a particular sound that I like to get when I mute a chord or a power chord or just a couple of notes or whatever it is, and I kind of like this kind of trill feeling. So it basically would sound like this. If you are a finger picker, it's kind of similar to this sound. But muted. Typically, if you're, I, as having these nails, would just use this as a pick. So, just as an example, in case that you're in the same position as me, it would sound like the same. But back to the pick. So let's try this basic exercise where we're going to do a power chord on the E. I'm in standard tuning, so we're up at the 7th fret doing an E chord, and we're just doing the bottom note, which is also an E, and then. So the idea is to really just get the evenness of that, of just dragging the pick along the strings at that, so it's all at the same rate. So nothing's really, there's nothing left hanging at the end, there's nothing that goes too fast at the beginning or too fast at the end. Another problem is that because you're playing at the same time, you're having to change where your hand position is. So maybe the fleshier part of your hand is maybe moving away, and so you could even hear it in the last thing I did, where this note kind of rang out a bit more than the others. Now, sometimes you might want to hear that, sometimes you might not, but a lot of times it does sound, it might be a mistake as far as what you're aiming for. So it's very important to sort of It really shouldn't change anything about the way you hold the pick, about the way you the type of pick you're using, anything like that, it shouldn't change a bit. And the cool thing is that, you know, you can mute really heavily. Or you can, you know, change that, and either by releasing pressure with your right hand, so you're not pushing down as hard on the string, or by just moving your hand a bit. And one way is going to sound more, you're going to hear more of the note sound, and the other you're going to hear more of the percussive sound of the string being hit. So the percussive sound will come with a more heavy mute. That's what you're really hearing out of everything. Now if I loosen up the mute, it's going to sound like this. So then we can kind of move into something more like playing, just playing a melody that's muted, something simple like. So to slow that down a little bit, I'm going to be moving my mute I'm going to be changing the sound of the mute just slightly. So eventually I'm playing open chords, and before that it'll be very, very tightly muted. So. I think that's a good exercise for just basically feeling out what it takes to make the sound that you're trying to make. Like at what point, you know, of pressure with your with this part of your hand and contact with the strings. At what point does it work for you? Because everyone's hands are shaped differently, and everyone's going to be playing different guitar. So at what point does that does the kind of magic work together to make? Or not magic, actually, just the practicality, the practice of putting your hand on the strings, make the mute sound the way you want it to. We can try some basic open chords. Let's just try like A minor, E minor to C, back to A minor. Let's try those muted, because it's a lot easier to mute the bottom strings than it is the top, because eventually it's your pinky that's going to be muting the high E chord. So. And while that's not the coolest sound, like I've said before, with guitar, electric guitar, you can use different effects and whatnot to make something quite beautiful. And I think that it almost has like a prepared piano, or almost a lutish quality to it, if that is a word, lutish. And a lot of songs you guys might hear, a lot of pop songs, a lot of 70s rock songs, 80s stuff. I mean, it's all over the place where people are, they're just, you might hear like the start of a song being like, etc. So it's very useful, and it's very good to know if you're trying to learn a lot of different songs. And it's a really simple concept, and it's one of the easiest to kind of grasp very quickly. Just you sort of put your hand down and you go, oh, okay, and then it's just about figuring out exactly how to strum with it afterwards. So that is muting 101.